presentation. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome those of you who are in the venue, and I also want to welcome those who are catching or watching this event via our live streaming on YouTube. I'm Dr. Jobu, and I am going to be the program director. I am also the Law Faculty's co-curriculum coordinator, and I work with students in those co-curricular activities. So we are going to begin our program. So today is going to be the inauguration ceremony of the incoming LSE 2024 to 2025. So I'm just going to give a bit of a 2-minute summary of the events that led us to this day. So on 2 April 2024, the Electoral Committee established in terms of the law Student Council Constitution was established and constituted with the aim of administering the 2024-2025 elections. And then on 8 April, the nominations were opened, in which all registered law students were required to nominate any other registered law students to stand for office for the LSE. On 12 to 16 April, the nominations were closed, and we received more than 500 nominations. And of course, those nominations were to be vetted, and eventually we had a final list of nominations that then stood for the elections. Okay. So before the casting of the votes, we also had a period in which the nominees were given an opportunity to present their manifestos to the student body, explaining what they hope to bring to the LSE if elected and what their plan was if elected into office. And I also want to thank law students who participated in that process as nominees, as nominators, as well as participating, asking questions during the presentation of the manifestos. Then on 1 May, the votes were cast. They were cast online with the help of our Center for Innovative Education and Communication, online on our Inaugural platform. The votes were announced the following day. We opened up the votes to any objections. We received no objections, and then on the 3rd of May, the Electoral Council or the Electoral Committee formally declared the 2024-2025 elections to be free and fair. Thereafter, the elected LSE members then met, and we then voted them to the respective offices in which they occupy today. So that led up to this process that we are having today. So we are here today because the LSE Constitution requires that after the elections are closed and after the members are voted into office, we must have an inauguration ceremony so that the incoming LSE may commence with its work as provided for in terms of the LSE Constitution. So without much further ado, we are going to begin our program, and we are going to start off by inviting our first speaker, and that speaker is going to be our outgoing chairperson of the LSE, Ms. Sipose Chujigwa, to come and give her remarks as an outgoing LSE.
Thank you, Dr. Flo. So, as my time at LSE comes to an end, a lot comes to mind. We've been through a lot. You guys are going to go through a lot, and I can say for sure. But I'd like to take this moment to express my gratitude to everyone who served with me, alongside me. And I want to make a special mention to my Secretary General, Mr. Abu Kunika. Together we faced a lot of challenges, and we celebrated successes, and we worked towards a common goal. But the support and the dedication from my fellow members was crucial in that aspect. I'm confident, having known some of you guys as peers, that the incoming leadership team will lead the LSE to greater heights, and I trust that you guys can do that. I have full faith in your abilities, the faces that I know, and I am very keen to see what the faces I do not know have to give. I would like to encourage you guys to work together. It's of utmost importance, the position that you guys are playing. You are the representatives of the law student body. We all know law students aren't easy. So we need strong leaders, we need strong representatives, and that has to be you. I'll keep emphasizing the need for you guys to work together, because while you're representing the law students, they're also going to be the ones fighting. And while you're working with the faculty, they're also going to be the people that you disagree with at times. You're going to need to engage with a lot of external stakeholders, and you're going to have to stand your ground, and it will be better to do so as leaders. I won't be long, but I think I can say that I'm proud of what we achieved as the LSE of 2023-2024, and I really look forward to how you guys can expand on that, and I really think that you can. Try our best to lay a good starting point for you guys, to ensure that things from here only progress. I wish you guys nothing but application going forward, and I would like to ask that you remember why you decided to become a member of the LSE in the first place. And if that's not the most moral decision, just remember that you have a duty to serve. Thank you.
Thank you to the outgoing LSE chairperson for the speech that we were together to make sure that we'll fulfill our obligation and with the LSE Constitution. So we are now coming perhaps to the most important part of the program, which is the part in which I'm going to introduce the incoming LSE, and thereafter they are going to take the pledge in front of the dean and the rest of us in the room. So how we are going to do this is I'm going to call each member of the LSE. They're going to come and stand in front, and I'm going to briefly explain what their role is in the LSE. And I'm going to do that with all 40 members of the LSE. And after we're done with that, the chairperson, Mr. Charles Popoza, is then going to lead the LSE in taking the pledge before you all. Okay? So first of all, we are going to have Mr. Shangani Popoza, who has been elected as the chairperson of the LSE. So in brief, the chairperson is the CEO of the LSE. His role is to monitor the execution and implementation of the responsibilities of the LSE, its programs and activities, as well as being the spokesperson of the LSE. Our next officer is Deputy Chairperson Inganachi Mieki. As his title suggests, the deputy chairperson deputizes the chairperson when the chairperson is not available to carry out his functions. The deputy also ensures compliance with faculty policies, procedures, and guidelines. The deputy also facilitates the amendment of the LSE Constitution, and as deputy CEO, the deputy chairperson automatically becomes chairperson of the LSE in the event that the chairperson vacates their office before the end of their term. Our next office bearer is Mr. Bulilan Nomogo. Mr. Nomogo is the Chief Operations Officer and Administrative Officer. He is responsible for the overall management operations and processing correspondence external to the LSE. He's also going to be responsible for circulating notices, recording minutes of meetings, preparing and presenting organizational written reports of the LSC and LSU meetings, and he is also the chief custodian of all LSU records and documents. Our next office bearer is the Deputy Secretary General, Mr. Onga Manote. His role as Deputy Secretary General is going to be responsible for operations and being an administrative officer, deputizing the Secretary General. Together with the Secretary General, they are going to be responsible for processing all correspondence internal to the LSC and its affiliates. They are going to be responsible for recording and reporting all minutes of all AGMs and student body meetings, and ensuring that same minutes are circulated among all members of LSC as well as affiliates. Our next office bearer is Mr. Roger Diaga, who is the Secretary, who is the Treasurer General. As his title suggests, this is the officer who is responsible for the purse strings in the LSC. He is going to be the Chief Financial Officer. He is going to be the principal signatory of all financial transactions of the LSC, responsible for the budgets of the LSC and its functionaries, affiliates, financial transaction records, and fundraising. Yeah. And then we have going to move on to the Office of Public Relations and Media Office. We've got two of them. First will be Nomfunduleko Mashidu Semano. And secondly, Ms. Tibelo Tenisi Matala. So as in this office, they are going to, in these positions, they are going to occupy the Office of Public Relations and Media Officers. They are going to be responsible for chiefly marketing and public relations. They are going to be information officers. They are going to have the duty of updating the LSC social media platforms regularly, and are also going to be responsible for all the LSC press updates and releases. And then the next office that we have is that of academic affairs. It was decided that because this office requires a lot of work, it was by unanimous decision that there should be 3 officers in this particular office. So the first will be Kitari Tunelo Namapati. And we have this acid dealing guy. And we have last but definitely not least, Mr. Carlo Klein in our So in this role as academic officers, they are going to ensure that they are responsible for the academic affairs of students. They are going to be the link between the student body and the different lecturers. They are going to also, as academic affairs officers, they are going to represent students in the different faculty committees. And they're also going to work with the different administrators in the different departments, and all of this to ensure effective student support and development. And next we have 2 community outreach officers, Mr. Lee Junior Iwedawu. Ms. Dawn Fisher. Okay, in this role as community outreach officers, now an official are going to be responsible for identifying and spearheading specific community outreach projects and facilitating participation by students. Thank you. And then the last office, last but definitely not least, is that would be our intervarsity relations officers. We have two. The first one is Miss Kanisa already and Mr. Lois or Sigiselo. Over here. So they are going to establish and maintain working relations with the law student councils in other universities in the different law faculties, and they are also going to be responsible for planning and organizing intervarsity events with other law student councils in other varsities. So, ladies and gentlemen, those who are in the room and those who are watching on our live stream, and before the team, I present to you the 2024-2025 election. So we are now going to proceed to that part of the event in which the LSE is going to take their oath of pledge that are going to carry out the functions and obligations that are laid out in the Constitution. So in terms of the Constitution, it provides that the LSE must take the following oath before they take office. And Mr. Charity Popoza, as the chairperson, is going to lead the taking of the oath. So we shall take it together and we can begin. Okay? In the presence
of everyone assembled here, and in full realization of the body as I swear that I will be faithful to the LSE, and I will faithfully observe, uphold, and maintain the Constitution and work under the rules of the LSE. And I solemnly and sincerely promise that I will always undertake to promote the vision and mission of the faculty, uphold the principles of transparency, accountability, responsiveness, and participation in the student community. Respect diversity that arises due to socio-economic status, culture, language, religion, race, and gender. Build and sustain the academic project of the faculty. Encourage the community among students. Articulate the aspirations of students within the structures and build a strong, dedicated, and committed leadership. Be conscious of our responsibility as members of the student community. Be determined to instill and nurture a culture of learning, tolerance, and understanding. Recognize the central role played by the faculty in preparing students to serve our society. Put the interests of students before my own. Fulfill my duties free from anxiety, privileges, and undue political influences.
To the Dean, to the Deputy Dean, I present to you the LSE 2024-2025 plan. The rest of the LSE can proceed to take their seats. At this moment, we are going to give the chairperson an opportunity to give opening remarks.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed faculty members, and fellow law students, good afternoon. My name is Charlie Okevin Kosa. I stand before you today as the incoming chairperson of the Law Student Council. I stand before you today with the profound sense of gratitude and responsibility as the chairperson of the Law Student Council. Now, as I stand before you today, I'd like us to take this brief moment to just look at our time here at WC. What's taking us up to this point? See, our time here is not merely a pursuit of academic excellence, but a transformative experience that shapes us into the lawyers and leaders of tomorrow. This moment is not just a personal achievement, but a collective dedication of our community of law students. First and foremost, I'd like to express my heartfelt appreciation to everyone that has supported me up to this point. To my colleagues who voted for me and trusted me with their vote. I promise to serve you with integrity and passion. Your dedication in me has fueled my determination to fight for your interests and aspirations. To the faculty, we are deeply grateful for your guidance, challenging us with your intellect, inspiring us with your passion for the law. And every moment, interaction with our peers shape our determination and our growth, development as lawyers and leaders of tomorrow. Now, as members of the Law Student Council, we have a unique opportunity to make a positive change within our university and beyond. Whether it be promoting diversity and inclusion, social issues, advocating for student welfare, or engaging with social issues. We have not only a voice, but a platform to make a difference. Now, with this privilege comes a duty. As the incoming LSC, we have a duty. We have a duty to challenge social injustice and champion equality. Society is in need of leaders. Society is in need of leaders. Society is in need of leaders who are willing to challenge injustice and make a difference. Now, this is what is being asked of us as the incoming LSC, to fight for the interests and aspirations of our fellow law students. Now, this change does not happen in isolation, nor does it take place overnight. It requires time, dedication, teamwork, and team spirit. It requires passion, patience, willingness to listen and learn from others. It is not that we're in this position now because we have acquired all the skills necessary to become leaders, but we must learn and listen from our fellow colleagues. Listen to the faculty. This change, or this truth, also requires us to step out of our comfort zones. We have to confront biases and prejudices. which in this case, I guess I'm the one given the mandate to engage in the ideas conversations with the faculty. But see how it goes. I know someone's probably sitting there thinking, now here comes the most confident man in the world, but I'm not. I just stand there as a fellow leader to my friends who know just how perfect I am, but always with the willingness to listen, always with the willingness to learn from others, whether it be my colleagues, peers, or anyone. To the members of the Outgoing Law Student Council, I'd like to extend my heartfelt appreciation for your dedication and interest in fighting for students' aspirations and interests. I'm honored to build on this foundation that you have laid. Our objective as the LSC is to improve the student experience and ensure that GWC produces astute graduates. We aim to collaborate with the different student organizations, be it Chobiene, Fathers, Street Law, and the GWC Mumpo Society. I'd like to take again this moment to thank you for this incredible honor, and I look forward to serving you with all the best of my ability. Thank you.
Thank you, President, for the speech. So if we are looking forward to a leadership that is with integrity, that puts the interests of students at the forefront, that has been promised to us by the incoming LSC. Thank you very much for that. We are now going to move on to our next part of the program. We are going to have a keynote address from Professor Mombede, the Deputy Dean of the Faculty of Law.
Professor Dean, the faculty for curricular chairperson, Dr. Keynote, the chairperson of the LSC, I'll memorize the name next time, and all its members, colleagues who are present here, students, and to those connected online. Good afternoon. My speech is not going to be very long. It's going to be long, but not very long. But before I read my speech, because I'm going to read it, let me start with a few thank yous. Thank you to all of you for being here and to all those connected online. Thank you to the outgoing LSC 2022 to 2023 members for all your hard work and sacrifices that you made championing what was best for your fellow students. Among the many other important issues that we had engaged together, you provided us greater insight on how in 2024 we could plan as a faculty around the exam timetable. You recall the final year exam timetable was a big issue. So you will be pleased to know that during registration this year, because of the engagement that we had, we have tried to encourage the final year students to register more electives in the first semester so that we don't land in a similar problem at the end of the year. And as you know, part of the bigger issue is we have so many electives in the curriculum, and that we are going to look at how from a longer solution we are going to solve that. Thank you and congratulations to the 2024-2025 LSC for being duly elected into the LSC Council. I have to emphasize for being duly elected, we heard from Dr. Kyobu, who took us through the process. It was not an easy process that you hear from the 14 of you hear. We had 500 nominations were received. So congratulations. And lastly, but not least, thank you to the organizing team for today's event and for inviting me to speak. My speech this afternoon will be based on my personal experiences working with the LS members since 2020. And I just want to share those experiences so that maybe you can borrow a leaf or two as you embark on this journey. So as you already know, as Law Student Council members, your role is to assist students with academic related queries whenever necessary and also when requested to do so by students. In other words, my understanding of your role, which you have nicely said in the pledge, is that you'll be acting as middlemen and women, acting as a direct link between students and the lecturers or the faculty. So since 2020, the key issues faced by law students which were brought to the faculty by LSC were related mostly to the test, assignments, tutorials, exams, and within the exams, it was about the SDAs. I'm sure we are all familiar about SDAs, SPGs, and advanced registration. And oftentimes, a solution to the issues that are raised by students are not immediately addressed due to so many factors, such as once we receive the issues, be it the lecturers receiving your issues, or it's faculty office, or the HOD or the deputy dean, in my position, we first have to consult and investigate before we can respond. And sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it takes time because as we work together, we are not able to reach a consensus. We're still discussing. So, and sometimes the issues are not solved because of the timing of when that issue has been brought to the faculty. For example, in 2020, the LSC had to engage with the faculty regarding the discrepancies between test 1 and test 2 of the first semester module, which was a final year module. I will not mention the module because I don't want to give ideas to maybe 40 years here. So the students argued that the different methods of testing created unfairness, so that was the issue. In test 1, students had to complete the test online and was limited to a time period of 3 hours. In test 2, the test was released, students had to download and work offline and upload. So in a way, they were given more time than the ones who had to take test 2. Unfortunately, the timing when this issue was brought to us was very late because it was a semester module, and we needed time to maybe arrange with the lecturers to give the affected students a third test so that they are also not disadvantaged. But because exams were already in few weeks' time, we were not able to assist. Another context was where in a final year module, many students were unhappy about the final results which they got. It was again a first semester module. Some students failed the module and some had very low pass marks, which could have affected their employability. So working together with LSC, those students who failed and those who wanted to improve their marks were accommodated with a catch-up intervention plan. However, in mapping the intervention plan, the LSC reported that all students registered for that particular module were consulted through a poll. It later on transpired that not all students were consulted and some students were therefore excluded from this intervention catch-up plan. So what I learned from that experience is that in order to be fair to all students, please make sure that each and every student has a voice and there is consensus. So as LSC, you represent all students affected in a particular module or in a particular program. And also not just your personal interest. In the pledge, you have pledged that you are going to be representing students and you put your personal interest above, you put students' interest above your personal interest. So please make sure that you consult all students, not just through a poll where a few students, let's say 50 students out of 500 students registered in the module have had a say. Within the context of advanced registrations, there are rules in the faculty calendar which prescribe the maximum number of credits that one can register. And in most cases, students coming to LSC and pushing to exceed the prescribed credit limits are the ones who probably had failed in the previous year or were not promoted. So in as much as the faculty understand that students will be coming to you because of the socio-economic context that they have, maybe coming the following year to complete is not an option, they have to complete. What that does is it puts students at a disadvantage, and most students, when they are registered with so many credits than what they can cope, they end up being academically excluded. So coming to the issue of the SDAs and SPTs, oftentimes there is a confusion among students. You do not apply for an SDA, you qualify. There are rules that you have to have written the exam. You have to have 40% for you, and then that you have to have only one module outstanding for you to promote or to complete. So there are set rules for one to qualify to write an SDA. Whilst as when it comes to writing the SPT that you apply. So an SPT is a special exam. You apply because maybe you were sick, there was death in the family, and then you are allowed to write. So the fact that these SPTs are written during the SDA period does not mean that a student applied to write an SDA. So, within the context of the SDA, the transition from the old, I'm sure all of you are from the new curriculum, right? Okay, so the transition from the old and the new curriculum. So the new curriculum started in 2020, but we still have students in the system who are from the old curriculum, 2019 and going backwards. So this transition exposed the system to some errors, and wrongly sometimes we flag some students that they qualify for the STA exam when they are actually promoted. So what happens, because the faculty is aware that such mistakes might happen, once the system gives us the promotion, the path for promotion, the faculty carefully looks at possible mistakes. And once it identifies that this student has actually promoted, but the system has flagged the student as STA, then the faculty takes that matter to Senate Assessment Committee to change the promotion code. So in the particular instance, the student received an STA notification from the system was when the student actually did not, the student promoted and did not meet an STA exam to promote. So when the student went to the LSC to say that I was flagged for this, but the faculty did not inform me that I'm supposed to write the STA and wanted that module that the student had failed to be given an STA. Those were the explanations that we had to give. So just to be aware that there might be some of the issues because of the transition of the old and the new curriculum coming to your office. Again, the LSC also reported that most complaints about the time extension on tests, extension on assignments, due dates, were in the past easily resolved directly with the lectures. It is, however, important to mention that changing the test assignment due dates is a bigger conversation than just to say we are writing criminal law on Tuesday, and we don't really have a break on Wednesday, and on Thursday we'll be writing this, so we want to change. It's a bigger conversation because, for example, if I'm to take introduction to law module, the introduction to law module is a module that is undertaken by students in 4 or 5 programs in the faculty. So the students who are doing LLB4, they do introduction to law. LLB5, they do introduction to law. Those who are in the 4-year, 3-year alternative program, they do introduction to law. Those who are doing BA law, they do introduction to law. BCom law, they do introduction to law. Now, these students, because they do introduction to law, BCom law students, BA law students, are also registered with other, in other modules with other faculties. So when you look at a test or assignment timetable, it looks like it's just easy to shift when students say there is this congestion. But on a bigger perspective, what is looked at is all these students who are doing introduction to law should not be affected in the other modules that they are registered with other faculties and in the other programs. So I am mentioning this because I want you to understand But these complexities and they require patience. And when students come to you and say that our timetable is congested, they are stressing. They are stressing. It requires patience. It requires a way of communicating to them that they should also understand that you want to assist them, but because of such complexities, you look as if you are not helping. So to conclude, let me once again congratulate the newly elected members of the LSC for the 2024 and 2025 academic period, and to wish you all the best in this important role. As Deputy Dean for Learning and Teaching in the faculty, I feel privileged and I really look forward to working with you all. The faculty mental health implementation plan could not have been finalized because the process requires the student voice, and we were waiting patiently to see who is going to be in office so that you can be part of that process. So you soon be receiving an invitation for our next meeting so that we can finalize that implementation plan. As we work together, we call upon you to be patient, as I've mentioned, and understanding when we are together addressing the issues that you will be coming to your offices as LSC members. It is in togetherness, and the outgoing chairperson mentioned that that togetherness amongst yourself, but now I'm calling upon you that togetherness with us, because we are all here for your success and the dedication of our lecturers, some of whom are present here, staff in the faculty, that we can be able to make decisions that are reflective of the faculty's vision, which is its commitment, and I call its commitment to a high level standard of conduct and performance decision making, which incorporate principles such as accountability, fairness, consistency, transparency, courtesy, and responsibility. I thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Deputy, for that speech. We all got a bird's eye view and practical examples of how our rules and policies apply across the undergraduate degrees. So we've come to the end of the program, and as program coordinator, it is now my opportunity to give a vote of thanks and also to close in thanks. So I would like to thank specific people and groups of people who made the election cycle a success, as well as the event today. So I wanted to thank first of all students themselves who participated in the election process itself. The nominations are open, you nominated, the nominations are closed. We called for participation in the manifesto presentations. You showed up and you engaged in the process. So I want to thank you, students, for participating in that way. And I think the number of nominees or nominations rather are reflective of the extent to which you are engaged in the process. I also want to thank the outgoing LSC, who were also involved in some of them at least, who were also involved as members of the election committee. We made sure that we set a schedule and we complied with that schedule in carrying out and finalizing the election cycle for the incoming 2024-2025 LSC. I want to thank the faculty office in general at large for assisting in, for example, vetting the nominees that were made in terms of the eligibility criteria in the LSE Constitution. I also want to thank specific members of the faculty office who constantly were sending out communication to the student body, telling you, okay, nominations are closed, or you need to submit certain documentation, or the nominations are open, the results are out, are there any objections, and those kind of things. So I want to thank those specific faculty members who constantly made sure that students were aware at what point of the election schedule we were in by sending out those announcements. I also want to thank the DBC for student development and support, specifically our manager for student governance was also part of the electoral committee, and we gained useful insights from her involvement. I finally, excuse me, also want to thank the Center for Innovative in Education, Communication and Technologies, who were integrally involved in setting up the voting platform on eNumber to make sure that it fulfilled the basic requirements of a free and fair online voting process. Without them, the voting process might not have been as successful as it was. I really want to thank the deputy for coming through and giving this opportunity to address us, and the dean for being present here. And I think this reflects the extent to which we regard our core curricular activities as an important part of the academic program. So I wish you all the best in the exams coming up, and I also wish the LSC a successful term as they carry out their obligations and duties in terms of the Constitution. So I hereby declare the program closed. Thank you for coming.
Hey, look, go.
The treasury general body. You gotta go, you gotta go. Just by